Alright, hey, welcome back. And today I want to talk about self-judgment. Why I think this is important to understand and why it's important to catch yourself when you're judging yourself. Is because a lot of self-judgment is just feedback from other people that then you put into your own head and then kind of feed back to yourself, right? And the idea with self-judgment is that it's usually in the short term, right? A lot of judgment is in the short term, with little context, little perspective. And why I think it's important when you catch yourself with self-judgment is to understand if you're judging yourself in the short term, how is this impacting you in the long term, right? And I think it is important to judge yourself sometimes, right? Because it can catch yourself when you're slacking or you're not exactly where you want to be, right? To put that pressure on yourself is important. So with self-judgment though, the other side, what makes it negative though, is if you're hitting too hard on yourself every single time you're doing something wrong or it's not going exactly right. And that's why I think with self-judgment, be very careful when you're doing it in short perspective. Stretch it out and see how you've been over a long-term process, right? And then start to judge yourself, right? A lot of people like to judge exactly in that moment and think it impacts them for a very long time, which isn't true, right? Don't judge just a tiny, tiny, minuscule portion of your life and then have that be predicated on how you live the rest of your life or how you feel towards something for a month or a year. Have this, yes, have this judgment of yourself, but understand that you have to stretch it out into the long term, right? Don't put so much pressure on yourself in the short term. Understand that's a complete process, right? We're talking long-term happiness here, right? Because as we said before, and I'll say again, everyday happiness comes from perspective, appreciation, and gratitude, right? Understanding where you are, how lucky you are to be where you are. And then long-term happiness is with that purpose. So with that judgment, yes, if you catch yourself judging yourself in the short-term perspective, just be sure that you're not letting that impact your long-term goals or happiness too much, right? Over a longer period, this self-judgment can be more useful to catch yourself or to try and improve yourself, right? Because you yourself want to hold yourself accountable. But with short-term perspective, I think a lot of us just judge ourselves too hardly, and this short-term judgment also comes from judgment from other people that we then feed back and loop into our own judgment. So I think that we take outside information and then we kind of agree with it and then create this own perception of ourselves. And I just want people not to be too hard on themselves in the short term, right? Be accountable for what you do, but make sure you're also always looking in the long term. If you enjoy this message, tag and share, people should hear it, and follow and stay posted for more content like this. And again, thanks for watching.